Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Oh man, I can't believe it. I mean, how many friggin' times am I gonna sit here doing the exact same thing? Well, would you look at that, as we've got Democrats essentially screeching nonstop that audits are not justified, these audits are not justified. Russia and China are now winning because Donald Trump wants to know how we're spending your tax dollars. As they're attempting to make this pathetically weak argument, what do you think starts popping up? Of course, a bunch of old clips, a bunch of old flashback videos showing Democrats being complete and utter frickin' hypocrites. Yesterday was the Elizabeth Warren clip from 2010 during her time as a prosecutor, where she was basically making the point that the American people deserve transparency, they deserve to know when money goes missing. And today we've got Jon Stewart. Elon Musk just posted an old clip from 2023 of Jon Stewart grilling the former Deputy Defense Secretary, Kathleen Hicks, over wasteful spending. And what really stands out here to me is, as per usual, the absolute shameless hypocrisy of the left. Yeah, I guess asking these sort of questions and grilling these departments is only justified when a Democrat's president. Holy frickin' moly. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so let's just first off start off by the tweet. Elon Musk posts this year-and-a-half-old C-SPAN clip with a caption that writes, "This is what we're dealing with everywhere in government."
There is a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse within a system.
Audits and waste, fraud, and abuse are not the same thing.
Please educate me on
Sure.
what
So an audit is
difference
exactly what you just described,
Yes.
which is, do I know what was delivered to which place?
Right.
The ability to pass an audit, or the fact that the DOD has not passed an audit, is not suggestive of waste, fraud, and abuse.
So in my world,
Yeah.
that's waste. If I give you $1 billion and you can't tell me what happened to it, that to me is wasteful. That means you are not responsible. But if you can't tell me where it went, then what am I supposed to think? I think it's a tough argument to
I'm pretty
make
sure
that
I can cause it.
an $850 billion budget to an organization that can't pass an audit and tell you where that money went, I think most people would consider that somewhere in the realm of waste, fraud, or abuse, because they would wonder why that money isn't well accounted for. And especially when they see food insecurity on military bases, when I see a State Department get a certain amount of money and a military budget be 10 times that, and I see a struggle within government to get people like more basic services, and then that department that got that, I mean, we got out of 20 years of war and the Pentagon got a $50 billion raise. Now, I may not understand exactly the ins and outs and the incredible magic of an audit, but I'm a human being who lives on the earth and can't figure out how $850 billion to a department means that the rank and file still have to be on food stamps. Like, to me, that's corruption. And if you think like that's like a crazy agenda for me to have, I really think that that's institutional thinking, and that it's not looking at the day-to-day reality of the people that you call the greatest fighting force in the world.
I love how the standard instantly changes the moment Donald Trump's doing something. Isn't that funny? Isn't that rich? I mean, where's Jon Stewart now? Clearly he cared about this issue, right? Where's Jon Stewart now that the USAID scandal has been blown wide open? And another thing I'm curious about is, where are all the so-called progressives who used to pretend like they cared about government corruption and wasteful spending, especially when it came to the military budget, right? And actually, here's a perfect point of hypocrisy. We've got the Majority Report with Sam Cedar, where Emma Vigeland took the lead on this video, and it was titled, "Jon Stewart Shreds Corrupt Pentagon During Scathing Defense Secretary Interview." Huh. Back then, challenging these deep state bureaucrats on the issue of wasteful spending and calling for an audit was totally justified, but now if you do it, you become public enemy number one. I mean, that's what they're doing with these DOGE Zoomers, the DOGE employees that Elon Musk has tasked with the audit. When Jon Stewart did it in 2013, oh, he absolutely shred them. He's asking all the right questions, but when the Gen Z DOGE Zoomers are actually doing it, well, the leftist response and the mainstream media response is, let's dox these kids. It's totally unbelievable. In fact, what's going on with these attacks on these DOGE employees coming from the left is so wild that I can't even really show you guys on YouTube. I could maybe get away with showing you some of these Reddit posts, but it's going to be heavily censored because guess what? It's a bunch of doxing and calls for literal violence. You know, the left just calling to assassinate a bunch of kids who were hired to do a job that in 2023 they were all talking about how necessary it was. Just an unbelievable double standard. And it's not just the terminally online Reddit communists that are losing their mind over this. The entire media machine has been activated. They've doxed these employees. They've called for unhinged attacks on literal government employees who are, again, just doing their job. We got these two unsavory individuals calling for the DOGE employees to be arrested.
I want to know who are these young, highly intelligent, highly motivated zealots following them into these buildings and shutting off payments to schools and Head Starts. I want to know who their names are, and I want to see Democratic governors saying, I'm going to do everything I can in my power to use the full faith and to the letter of the law to put you folks in prison. And be clear, just because the new insurrectionist who was elected, I don't believe this is legal, and I'm going to hold the people accountable who are trespassing and part of a coup accountable. We need to go gangster here and say, look, we are not negotiating around this stuff. This is illegal. This is a coup. This is the unlawful seizure of power. We are not going to engage in these ridiculous arguments over Gaza and Greenland. We are going to hold the people accountable. Here are their names. Here are their faces. And we have contacted the local authorities in where these kids live, and we are going to hold them accountable.
And the question is, a lot of them were like, what do we do to stop him? I was like, you actually don't have the means to do so, because these poor people are in these agencies. And when these idiots come in, these children, these arrogant little pricks come in and say, we're going to call the federal marshals, or the president has ordered you to step aside, they kind of have to.
I'd like to see all, whatever it is, 48 or 49 U.S. senators and any Republicans that want to join. I'd like to see a couple hundred members of Congress go to the building where this is and demand to go in and physically stop this and let them arrest you.
Instead of cheering the fact that the biggest financial scandal in American history is finally being exposed, an issue that they seemingly used to care about, these delusional lunatics have gone full-blown authoritarian, openly calling for the arrest of the DOGE Zoomers. Just a couple young people who are doing what the government watchdog groups should have been doing over the last couple of decades. It's just crazy. It's total hysteria. It's fanaticism. They've lost grip with reality and everything's partisan. Everything's black and white to them. If Donald Trump does something, then it just has to be protested. It's the end of the world. The sky is falling. Instead of engaging honestly, it's just derogatory, inflammatory, or just a violent reaction. But like I keep saying, at the end of the day, there's nothing to be outraged over. Everybody wants this. Left, right, and center. It's just that the left doesn't want Donald Trump to be doing it. But too bad, as the saying goes, elections have consequences. You guys are now the minority. And so I guess it's time to come to terms with that. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.